The story of Junko Furuta is one of the most shocking cases of violence. In 1988, a 17-year-old girl went through 44 days of unimaginable pain after being abducted. Her life was changed forever, and what she went through shocked the world. This story shows extreme cruelty and abuse. If you're sensitive to violence or heavy topics, please choose different content. This story might not be suitable for everyone. For those who stayed, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more disturbing and mysterious stories. Now, let's move on to today's story. Let me introduce to you a girl named Junko Furuta. She was described as an exemplary teenager. She didn't smoke or drink, did well in school, and worked part-time as a waitress after school. Junko was a favorite at school due to her pleasant personality and hardworking nature. She lived in Misato, a small town near Tokyo, where you can reach the popular Shibuya area in just 30 minutes. Now imagine a young man, Nobuharu Minata, who lived even closer to Tokyo, only 15 minutes away. Minata was the complete opposite of Junko. He was a local delinquent and often hung out with his friends in one of the parks in Misato. According to the media, their favorite pastime was harassing random girls. His friend, Hiroshi Miyano, was a classmate of Furuta's and was in love with her, though he didn't expect a relationship. The girl never responded to his advances, and it was clear that, unlike her classmates, she wasn't impressed when it was revealed that he was somehow connected to the Yakuza. And that wasn't what impressed her. It actually scared her. On November 25, 1988, the young man saw her in the park and plotted with Nobuharu Minata and two other friends to take revenge on her for rejecting him. Junko had ridden through that park many times on her bicycle. It was her usual route from her part-time job to her home. The young men, having recognized her, put their premeditated plan into action. Minata pushed Furuta as she passed by, and she fell to the ground. At that moment, Hiroshi allegedly approached her, pretending to help her get up. By the time Minata had escaped, Hiroshi offered to take her home, and she allowed him to do so, despite feeling very confused. Soon, she would realize it was a fatal mistake. Instead of taking her home, Hiroshi drove Furuta to an abandoned warehouse. When they entered the building, Miyano threatened to kill Junko and her family if she made a sound. He tried to intimidate her again by claiming his connections to the Yakuza, then he raped her. Afterwards, the young men returned to the park, where Minata was waiting for them. They told her they knew where she lived, since addresses were listed in the school notebooks that students were required to carry, and if she resisted, the Yakuza would take care of her family. Unable to resist their threats, Junko followed them to Minata's house, where she was gang-raped that very night. Thinking her family would panic, the young men's demands didn't end with just one assault. They continued abusing her from late November to mid-December. Minata's parents were initially unaware of what was happening, as their son explained that Furuta was his girlfriend and would be visiting often. However, in reality, Furuta wasn't just visiting. She was living with the Minata family for almost a month and a half. The parents were too afraid of the Yakuza to intervene. Minata used the mafia to intimidate not only Furuta but also his own mother and father, who decided to turn a blind eye. For 44 days, Junko Furuta was trapped in a nightmare, regularly assaulted by Minata, his friends, and others who came into the house. They used cruelty, including hanging her from the ceiling, beating her like a punching bag, forcing her to perform degrading acts, and much more. Junko was starved, her body was tortured, and she began to decay. Eventually, the young men lost interest in her, but the situation came to light when one of the witnesses of the abuse, Hiroshi's friend, saw what was happening and alerted his family. His brother told their parents, who in turn informed the police. The police arrived at the Minata home, but the parents convinced them that there was no girl living there, and the police left. A second attempt by Junko to call the police failed when she was caught and dragged back into the room. The police called back, but Hiroshi convinced them it was a mistake. The abusers poured lighter fluid on Junko's legs and set them on fire. The police failed to intervene, and the Minata family continued to terrorize Junko. After nearly 44 days of torment, the young men, in an effort to cover up their crime, wrapped Junko's body in a blanket and hid it in a suitcase. They decided to dump her body in the sea but ultimately left her in a deserted area. 2 weeks later, the authorities arrested some of the perpetrators for group rape. Hiroshi, realizing the police were getting closer, confessed to the crime and revealed the location of the body, which had been sealed in a concrete-filled barrel. The perpetrators were tried as minors, despite their brutal crimes. The sentences ranged from 4 to 17 years, and there were claims that the Yakuza's influence played a part in the leniency of the sentences. The Minata family was ordered to pay $45,000 in compensation, which they managed to pay by selling their house, though the money never reached Junko's family. Some of the perpetrators, including Hiroshi Miyano, changed their identities after being released from prison. Hiroshi went on to live a life tied to the Yakuza, while others also continued their criminal activities. Despite the horror they inflicted on Junko, none of them truly changed, and the story of the young girl suffering remains one of the most chilling tales of violence in modern Japan. This is the end of the story about Junko Furuta. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to discover even more disturbing stories. See you soon.